I'm so drained from this team. I am so drained from this team. What's up, everyone, and welcome back to another edition of Kevin and Zach Reacts. I'm Zach Bonder, and actually joining as we went live is old Kevin Ostreicher. Kevin, I hate this, but how's it going?
I can't really tell what day it is anymore because it feels like we are repeating the same day over and over again. Or actually, I will actually upgrade us. I will get us the VIP treatment here. We are repeating the same 2 days over and over again. Either the Orioles find a way to get rid of all their issues and they somehow pull out a win, even while struggling in certain parts of the game, or they just revert back to what we've been saying the entire season, which is the offense is inconsistent, the bullpen is inconsistent, a starter gives you enough, and you can't get the job done. And we are currently, there are those meme graphics of like you go, it's like four different stops of where you go on the circle. For the Orioles, it's just two. You go back and forth, and we are right back to square one again. It seems like when the vibes even just start to creep up and they start to be a little bit back, they just fly out the window.
Yeah. And you know what's crazy, Kevin? I'm not even there's so much that happened in this game in the final 3-4 innings that just made me go, what are we doing? And bummed me out. I forget that we had a perfect game thrown against us through 17 batters. We're not even talking like that. We were perfect gamed for 17 batters and a hit by pitch and an Austin Slater home run. Slater, stand up. What are we doing, Kevin? I mean, this is the weirdest team I've ever seen. This is just you know what, Kevin? We're probably sweeping the Astros. I'm just going to call it now because of just how weird this team is. The fact that they refuse to ever beat teams they're better than, but they play up to the rest of the league. I have more faith in them sweeping the Astros than sweeping the White Sox. At this point, that's where I am with how just weird this team is. And I'm seeing a lot of people talking about the bullpen. It is what it is. I think at this point, even Brandon Hyde after the game talked about the bullpen. Kevin, I'll tell you this. I've never seen Brandon Hyde so dejected, just so done. He was talking about the bullpen as if someone had just taken his firstborn from him and was like, we're holding them hostage. He was like, we're just trying to piece together innings now. Find 27 out somewhere. He doesn't know what to do. You finally have something good going in Seranthony Dominguez, and I'm not blaming Seranthony at all. He had what Jesse Winker put out was a hell of a pitch. That you just got to tip your cap to Jesse Winker. It wasn't like that was a middle fastball. Jesse Winker went below the zone and went and took that out opposite field in the gap. You just tip your cap to Jesse Winker. The Mets beat them, but in a lot of ways, the Orioles beat themselves as well.
Yeah, and again, man, it is just these conversations. I honestly feel bad bringing up the same points every single episode. I legitimately feel bad doing it, but we're gonna do it again. We did this literally 2 days ago, I think, or maybe it was 3. I can't even remember. Time is a flat circle at this point. But when did the game feel like it was lost for the Orioles? Had this conversation a couple days ago, and I think you already know where I'm going with this one, Zach. The Orioles had bases loaded. 0 outs.
Yep.
0. Count them on your fingers. There's nothing to count because there were no outs. They got 1 run. 1 run. Yeah. That to me is where it's just kind of like, okay, it's that kind of game. Can't capitalize on a prime opportunity that's given to you. And if they lose, which obviously they did, yep, we're gonna come right back to it and identify that moment in the game. It's something,
yeah,
but it's not nearly enough of what you need to get in that situation.
No, and once again, 0 for 3 with runners left with runners in scoring position. 0 for 3, you leave 3 men on base. It's just brutal to watch every time, Kevin, because you get the bases loaded. They bring in O'Hearn, and usually Oh, Hearn comes up, Adley comes up. You're like, okay, here we go. We can blow this thing open. I'm sitting there and I'm begging for a sacrifice fly. I'm like, I don't think we're going to get a hit here. Just please get a sacrifice fly. Oh, Hearn gets tossed. That was just
that the umpires did play again. I mean, again, same conversation. This is kind of crazy. We should write down, like, we should have in the corner just like 5 notes, and like they'll never change.
Yeah,
like they'll never change.
Although the umpires screwed the Mets over on that bases loaded inning.
Yeah.
That was a strike him out, throw him out, and they called it somehow ball 4. So it's just the umps were bad for both teams. Yeah, I do worry about Adley. I'm seeing a lot of people talk about Adley. He just isn't himself right now. So that's the biggest concern is he's just doesn't look like himself at all. Behind the plate, batting, this does not look like Adley Rutschman at all.
Yeah, I'm with you. It is concerning. He had the homer on almost Sunday. Was it Sunday? Saturday? Sunday? What? Sunday?
Sunday.
Yeah.
Sunday.
But I mean, these past 2 months for him, and he started to see the year so good. But you have to wonder at this point. I think that back issue is something. And I get like he can play through it. He's a tough dude. Like, of course, he's competitive. He wants to play through, he wants to help his team win. And I get it, man. Like, all these guys want to play. All these guys want to help their team win. They don't want to, if they can play through something and they feel like they're good enough to help the team out, they do it. But Adley hasn't been helping the team out a bunch recently. And how bad is the back? Is it a mental thing? There are all these different conversations we can have about it, but the one that we can have is Adley isn't playing good enough right now. I mean, McCann has been out playing him for how long now? Like,
gosh,
you can't have that when you're Adley Rutschman and you're supposed to be one of the face of the franchises of this team, and he is, right? This slump does not mean he's not one of the face of the franchise. Obviously, I didn't mean it in that way. But when you are one of those guys, the expectations, they're up here. With James McCann, expectations, like, they're nowhere near Adley's expectations. Because James McCann's not one of the faces of the franchise. He's not necessarily a long-term piece for the team either. But he's doing more right now and has been doing more than what Adley's been doing. And that is a concern point because, Zach, we were talking really the whole year, mainly leading up into and past the All-Star break, about, hey, we'd love to see Adley get more reps at catcher. And, the DH spot opens up with that. So you're not doing McCann Adley and, this, that, and the other about how you need to have Adley at catcher so you can maximize your DH role. Well, McCann is hitting better than Adley right now. It's almost like, do you maximize McCann at this point? Like, try to open up the DH role to somebody else because, man, it's tough to see, honestly. Like, I feel for Adley because I know how badly he wants to help the team win. We know how talented he is, but it has just been rough. And I mean, we can't sit here and not say it. It has been, because it has. It's been pretty rough for him recently, and not even recently, like for a pretty long time now.
Yeah, for the past few months. And what sucks is he started to put it together in early August. Like the first 10 days of August, he was hitting over 300, and you started to feel like, okay, maybe Adley's a little bit starting to get in his groove again. And then it just disappeared again. Like, it just felt like it started to get there, and then immediately, boom, we were just gone once again. Let's talk a little bit more positive. Guy I want to talk about just because on the stat sheet, it's not going to go down as a great outing or whatever. Cole Irvin fought his ass off today. Cole Irvin deserved way better than what he got from legitimately the first pitch of the game. The first pitch of the game, Francisco Lindor grounds the ball to Ramon Arias and just beats the throw. Like, it was just Arias, like, did a little bit of a tiny stutter to gather himself, an extra gather step. Boom. That was like, wow. I was like, okay. And then honestly, I was like, this is how it's going to be. Then Kimbrel, then Cole Irvin. Maybe I'm just confusing everyone with Cole Irvin. Yesterday, you
just really want Cole Irvin to be like the ace of this rotation.
So Cole Irvin then gets out of it. He honestly should have only had 2 earned runs because JD Martinez should have grounded into a double play if Jackson Holiday doesn't drop the ball in the transfer. So I'm not even going to really count that too much against him. It just was brutal because he goes 4 1/3, only 5 hits, 2 runs. We talked about this yesterday, Kevin. We were like, if you can get 5 innings of 2-run ball out of Cole Irvin today, it was a huge win. Like, that's kind of just what you wanted, was just 5 innings. He only goes 4 1/3. The pitch count got up there. It's a tough one to swallow because you had opportunities. You had a decent start. Like, the inning ends the 5th and you've only given up 2 runs. You're in that ball game. And that's all we asked from Cole Irvin today. We said all we need is for him to keep them in this ball game and them to try to find a chance to win. They had opportunities. They had chances to win, and they couldn't get it done. They just couldn't get it done.
Yeah, again, I feel bad about having the same conversations, and then I feel worse about saying we have to have the same conversations again because it's what everybody hears on this show. But I mean, we do. It's the same thing over and over again, where it's like a starter goes out there, you're relying on Cole Irvin to go play hero ball for you. And again, it wasn't a perfect game, but he did more than enough. This talent on offense, again, I didn't even. Have you been wearing that the whole time?
Yeah, Kevin, I
did not even realize. I did not even realize.
Pre-show like 3 times. I was like, and you were just.
No, I was on my phone. Yeah, man, I didn't. Yeah, wow. Well, look at that, realizations. But everybody's been saying. I've been saying. Honestly, I want to pull up just like an old episode of ours and just we sit here and watch it for the hour because it would be the same.
It would be the exact same thing.
We put the same points across. We'd get the same points across.
We could legitimately play Tuesdays, Mondays show.
Mondays.
When they got
we could play Monday show.
You could play Monday, and it would start with, first off, we're not blaming Sir Anthony Dominguez. Like, it was a good pitch. It literally is verbatim what we would be saying right now. You had opportunities. You're down. The other pitcher's dominating through 5. Then you score runs to tie it off of him. That it literally followed the exact same script.
It was
the exact same script. Was it the same score too?
I think it was 2-1, wasn't it?
No, it was 4-3. It was.
Was it?
I mean, legit. Kevin, why didn't we just go live and just play that one? We should have just played that one.
We could have reacted to it. What am I thinking? What was the Rays game like 10 days ago. Okay, that's what I was thinking of. But yeah, I mean, look, everybody was worried about Cole and him doing his thing and like, oh, is this the Cole Irvin we saw before he got sent down? Is this going to be a disaster? And he goes and gives up 2 runs. And look, he didn't go 6 innings, right? He didn't go 6 or 7 and give you that longevity. But even though he went 4 1/3, 2 runs is enough. And then honestly, Colin Selby comes in and gives you another inning and 2/3 of scoreless ball. Who again, is he the new Burt Smith everybody's talking about?
Although Birch Smith, obviously last night, we're.
Well, I know.
We're moving ahead. We're moving ahead. And
but,
Selby, I'm happy with how he's pitching. He literally came in and first pitch got JD Martinez to ground into a double play if Holiday holds on to the transfer, and then here's what's the most annoying. Like, it's the double plays. The Orioles don't turn a lot of double plays this year, and that was a strength of theirs last year. But I feel like they get the same amount of opportunities. It's just like, how many times have we seen Gunnar bobble the ball? Today, Gunnar gets it, takes 2 steps, throws it, Mountie comes off the bag. The bobble from Jackson, like, it just feels like this team is getting opportunities for double plays. They just can't convert them.
Yeah. And that's me. We talk about the inconsistencies, man. We should just put like consistency on a shirt. Like what we should do here, Zach, is for merch, put consistency on a shirt, and everybody who doesn't know will just think it's like motivational. Like, oh, consistency. Like, oh yeah, be consistent. Like, that's the message.
No.
And then everybody who knows is like, no, that is not the meaning of this shirt. But that's where it is. The consistency / inconsistency of this team all season. The starters have been the most consistent. The bullpen and offense have been wildly inconsistent. But the thing that concerns me the most is the defense. and I've said that before, it is the defense and the bobbles and the misplays and the drops and whatever else you want to put in that conversation. The defense is the one, because at the end of the day, like if you make an error, that can be game changing, especially in the playoffs where everything needs to go so perfectly. If one little thing happens, that can blow open a game 10 times more than it can in the regular season. So we talk about all the units being inconsistent. Starters have been the most consistent, which is still crazy considering they're putting you and I out there every couple days. But I mean, the defense is the part where I'm kind of looking at it and I'm like, that could really become an issue. And it already is an issue. It's been an issue all year.
I mean, because like you said, defense is the one thing that you can really control. Like baseball is so out of your control. Like the pitcher is the one who controls the ball when you're offense. Like you don't always know when you're up to the bat. You know, the umpire goes against you. The one thing you can control is when the ball's in the air, you can go catch it. You know, like it's the little things like dropping pop-ups, like booting ground balls. Gunnar Henderson is has a third most errors in all of baseball with 19. You know, when you give teams extra momentum, you give them extra outs. Like think about when a ground ball gets booted, that just gives momentum to the other team. When you make an incredible play, it can suck the life out of the other team. Defense is such a game-changing factor. And it just feels like the Orioles are getting beat by their own defense more times than not this year. I mean, last night, Gunnar makes an insane play, an insane pop-up catch, and you're like, okay, this is what we needed. Then he gets the error, boom, all of a sudden, 3-run home run, 2 batters later, and we have a ball game. So it's just a weird – this defense is costing this team in so many ways.
Yeah. And that's the big part where I think when everybody thinks about defense for baseball, especially a professional baseball team, you know, it's not going to be perfect. It never is. I remember, Zach, the first time I realized that athletes were not perfect, I was obviously very little, but it was a Bucknell March Madness game. I can't remember how old I was, but I was definitely single digits years of age. And a basketball, like it was a fast break, right? No one in front of the guy. And he missed a wide open layup. And so, to that point, I thought that athletes were perfect. Like they never, like wide open layup, people never miss those, right? Routine rounder, you never miss those, right? Catch with no one in your area, everybody makes those. That's the first time I realized that athletes aren't perfect. And I'm not expecting athletes to be perfect. As an athlete, I was very far from perfect, and I never got anywhere near the professional level outside of obviously my illustrious.
That's big of you, Kevin. That's
my illustrious T-ball career was the best career that I ever had. But as a professional athlete, you are held to higher standards, where it's not going to be perfect, and I never expect it to be. But just the lack of defense this year, which was, you talk about strength, right? You mentioned the double play combinations and how that was big for them. Defense in general was really good for them last season. And it's been such a steep drop off this year where it is concerning. It has been concerning. It'll continue to be concerning. And again, we're not in May right now. We're almost in September, which is crazy that we're like 10 days away. Mm-hmm. It's going to have to change.
Every time I think September is 10 days away. Kevin, this season's flying by and not for good reasons. Like it was so fun at the beginning of the season. Remember before all the injuries, Kevin? When we were having fun, we were winning 8 of 10. Like
I remember before the season started, you and I both, I mean, everybody, Ryan, Brad, everybody, we're talking about, oh, well, this rotation is 7 deep. You know, you got Burns and Bradish and Rodriguez, you got Means and Kramer's in there. And then if one of those guys goes down, Cole Irvin can step up. Tyler Wells can step up. And that was our conversation. And looking back on that conversation in March, versus where we are almost in September now, you have 2 of those guys still healthy. Mm-hmm. Out of 7. Well, I guess 3 if you're counting Cole, but 3 of the 7 still healthy. You've brought in a guy no one had ever heard of, in Albert Suarez, who has become like the savior of the team. They've tried out Povich a bunch. They tried McDermott. Like we were having conversations about, oh, you know, if 1 or 2 of these guys goes down, oh, it'll be fine because they have these other options. And now here we are in August 21st, and like 10 different pitchers have been injured, and it's just been in just an absolute whirlwind right now.
Yeah. It's just, this team also misses guys like Corey. This team misses speed.
Jordan Westberg is so missed right now. So missed.
It's just, yeah, it's not going well at all. This is literally, we're getting into, I think we've talked about before, 2021 Ravens, where the talent was there, but then by the end of the year, like the talent legitimately was not healthy.
Yeah. And Mike saying 15 days till Ravens football. Man, I did not realize it was this. This reminds me, actually, because I did not realize it was that close. This reminds me of that Lamar offseason where, we were waiting for the Lamar extension. And I had like a bunch of content planned out that offseason, and I did none of it because every single day you had to talk about Lamar. It was literally the only thing people were talking about. I couldn't do like free agency previews. I couldn't do who the Ravens were signing. It was all Lamar Jackson.
Yep.
And I literally found out the draft was the day of the draft the night before. I was like, I thought the draft wasn't in 2 weeks. I had no idea. And now we're here. The Orioles season has kind of brought us up to Ravens season nicely, but over these last 2 months, it hasn't been as nice as we would anticipate. Speaking of football, by the way, the Ryan Ripken Show Fantasy Leagues, that tweet went out today. I'm going to do my locked on ones a couple days from now, probably maybe Friday to see the initial, but we're going to have a couple leagues. The 5 of us are going to have one league or one team in those leagues. So essentially I'm going to overrule everybody and do it. I'm going to do it. No, I'm kidding. But it'll be everybody in those leagues going up against the 5 of us. So it's a 12-team league. It's on Sleeper. It is free. If you are interested in that, we're going to have, I believe, 2 public leagues, and then one for the Holy Shirts and Pants members over on the Ryan Ripken Show channel. And then we are also, the 5 of us are going to do a separate league, which will hopefully have some very special guests. And we were going to live stream that one at a certain point. We're still trying to figure out logistics. So if you want a nice little break from the Orioles and how stressful they can be, and you want to get into the fantasy football world,
anymore. Call it draining. The word for this season.
You've been saying draining for a while now. Yeah.
Because it's just waiting for the inevitable. Like I legitimately every day at this point, which sucks because of how fun this team is, how fun this team was supposed to be. This is not fun. We used to call them the cardiac comeback hits, Kevin. You waited no matter what. If they were down 6 runs in the 8th, you were like, they could do this. Like they could do this. But now, even when they're up 2-0, you're like, hopefully the pitcher can go through 7. Hopefully we can get through 8, because when that bullpen comes in, and then you just wait. You wait for the blown save. You wait for the walk-off home run. Like, as soon as we didn't score off Diaz, I hate it for Sir Anthony, but I was like, damn, GG's, good game. It's over. Like, they needed to win. They needed to score more in the 8th. As soon as that didn't happen, Kevin, you're like, okay, this is a loss. It's just how are they going to lose? So it's just draining. You feel like you're just waiting every time for that final pitch to just happen, for the pitch that Kimbrel throws to get put out of the ballpark, for the big error to be made that extends the inning, for the massive bases loaded no outs that we don't get anything out of. You're just waiting for anything to happen that just takes the life out of this team. And it feels like it happens on a nightly basis at this point.
Yeah, I guess if there's one silver lining, and I see Birdland Minute saying here, they didn't have to use the bullpen a bunch. Relative to what it could have been if they went to extras, knowing they have a 4-game set with the Astros coming up. Like, if this game went 14 innings or something and the Orioles found a way to lose, I think people would be losing their minds even more so than they are. I'm trying to find like the most out of pocket word for draining, like just the random synonym. I see enfeebling. They say soggy. This has been a soggy season for the Orioles.
A soggy season.
Soggy. Wow. The last word on here is pleasureless. That is brutal.
I've actually seen a few people ask about my harmonica. I do have it still. I've been watching this one guy, and I think tonight I'm gonna like actually sit down and try to learn something.
You should. Well, is it going to be Orioles Magic or Yankees lose first? Or are you gonna start simple?
Kevin, I'm going to start with whatever this guy teaches me on I don't know enough already to just start going off and learning Orioles Magic. I literally clicked on a video that said day 1 for beginners. Like we are,
and it should be Orioles Magic.
I don't think it should be Yankees lose.
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, the hate watch will be strong again, obviously.
Yeah, tonight. Oh, hopefully. Go Guards, baby. Go Guards. Actually, Joe, we there is something in the works. So you just be on the lookout for that. But Kevin, I do have to run because I'm going to call the Ironbirds game with Mike Marcantonini up in Aberdeen. So you
need another shot to try to beat me out.
Kevin, when it was 5 2/3 innings through and it was a perfect game for the Mets, I was like, this is not the game I need to end in a perfect game today, boys. I was like, I need us to get the perfect game tonight. But yeah, so I will be calling the game up in Aberdeen.
Can I ask you, can we do one more mini conversation? Because you actually tweeted about this, and it's something that we had talked about a little earlier, and something people are talking about. Craig Kimbrel comes in this game. This is the quite literal opposite of a situation that you would want him to be in based off of his performances. Look, we give him credit. He got the 2 outs last night, and that's all good and well, but that was in a 4-run game in a high leverage inning. The 9th inning is the most high leverage inning, but it was a low leverage run situation where you're like, okay, it's a 4-run game. You should be able to get out of this even if you give up a run. And he did it. But did that confidence carry over to today? And Hyde was like, hey, you know what? He got it going. So let's see if he can do it. And we can just, it felt to me like it was a full send. It was like,
it was a heat check.
It was, there's a little sliver of hope. We're going all in on it. And we're seeing what happens. It was a tie game. Obviously, the Orioles found their way. And then Craig comes in and gives up the homer. And again, we have all established this. I know you and I have established this, but there are only very particular situations where Craig Kimbrel can come in. I'm not saying I agree with it because I don't, but I understand why Brandon Hyde did it to try to see if there was anything to what we saw last night.
And the bullpen was so just fried that you had to put Kimbrel in somewhere, unfortunately, today. So I get why Hyde put him out there. Like, there literally was like no other option there than to see if Craig Kimbrel could just heat check last night and just find yeah, that would have. But at the end of the day, we got exactly what we expected. Craig Kimbrel goes in, and as soon as that ball hit the bat, you're like, yep. So I'm at the point where once again, like, I don't see them DFAing him, but it is.
Well, that's the thing, and I don't know. Are you're gonna pull up something?
Yeah, just real fast. No, I don't think Kimbrel lost this at all. I think this was lost in the 8th inning when the Orioles only got 1 run with the bases loaded, no outs. You got to get 2-3 runs there.
Yeah, no, I'm not blaming Craig Kimbrel for the loss, not at all.
No, but this is the conversation of where can you put Kimbrel right now, and it doesn't seem like anywhere.
Yeah, and again, if they use someone else, then again, your options were limited. Like, what does is the game still tied or whatever? But here's the thing that I want to bring up here from Birdland Minute is, even if you just want to narrow it down to one thing here, with Craig Kimbrel, it feels like the Orioles are playing a man down. It feels like they are playing with one spot just kind of grayed out in the bullpen, where you go and it's only a break glass in case of emergency. But in the playoffs, you can't have only break glass in case of emergency guys. And I don't even know if I'd call him that at that point. I would just say he's a guy that's mop-up duty. Win or lose, right? You're winning by 5, losing by 5, whatever it would be. He comes in, again, the minimum amount of runs I'd put him in the game is 3. I think if you put him in the game when it's a 3-run lead, you have a decent shot of getting out of it with the lead still. 1 or 2 runs or a tie game is still decently dicey for Craig Kimbrel. But when you're a team that's competing for the AL East division, you're competing for obviously seeding, playoff spot, wild card, whatever you want to say. You know,
yeah,
it's a part where, and even too, if you want to, yeah, I mean, Birdland, it says the 3 spots. I think the other guys that are being referred to, it's Greg Soto, who has been better. I mean, it was very hard for him to be worse than early in. But then also the other Soto, where has Levant even played once since being up and down, up and down?
I think he was a defensive replacement. Don't quote me on that. I think he came in to replace someone defensively over the weekend.
Yeah, well, actually, we didn't even talk about.
Well, maybe you didn't. People are saying no.
We'll talk about that, but just to round out the Kimbrel conversation, it's tough because I agree. I don't think they're going to DFA because, you know, regardless of how I feel about it or how you feel about it, I don't think they want to send that message in the locker room. The message I personally think they might be sending unintentionally by doing something like this is how much can a guy get away with who's getting paid that much money? Because as I've said before, guys have gotten DFA'd for way worse and way less. Or I guess better. I should say it was way better. Guys have gotten DFA'd for way better and for way less than what Craig Kimbrel has done. But the fact that he was the big signing this offseason, the fact that he's getting paid all that money, the fact that they, you know, I'm sure some level of a role was promised to him coming in here replacing Felix for the season. Those are all factors. But again, it's like guys have been DFA'd for less. Guys have been sent down for less. And I think that it is a money conversation, not like ownership money conversation, but just like they invested all this money in him. And like, do you want to send that guy down? But I think like if you are serious about winning, you have to you have to really evaluate what's going on with this, because if you go into a postseason and you are essentially running a bullpen a man down, you're already in trouble. And that's before the inconsistencies of everybody else. You want to have as many options as you can, even if they're all inconsistent. You want to have them be as little inconsistent as possible. And Craig is just a guy that like is 10 out of his last 11 outings have been really bad.
Yeah, and like you can really only point to 2 outs yesterday. Like that's what we were harping over. We were like, just get outs. Just get outs, get some sort of confidence back. And as soon as you felt like, okay, maybe his confidence is back, gives up a home run to give up the lead today. So it's just like the confidence just continues to get. As soon as you take 1 step forward, it's 2 steps back. And that's the biggest thing is Craig Kimbrel is not confident in Craig Kimbrel right now, and you can tell. Yeah, and if his confidence is going to be the difference, which sucks, but it is what it is.
Yeah, confidence is key. You got to, I mean, it's belief of your teammates, belief of your coaches, but obviously most importantly, belief in yourself. And I mean, it doesn't help that he gets booed every time he leaves the game and gets booed really every time he comes in the game, essentially.
Anytime
like
he just exists, he's getting booed.
Yeah, I mean, again, you see the tweets, you know, Kimbrel coming in and it's 5 likes and 25 comments. I'm just like, oh, here we go. And that's like, it's deserved. Like that has been.
Yeah, there's
like
a reason
the criticism is deserved. He has not been good.
Yeah.
But if this team has serious aspirations about winning this season and they feel like they can go into the postseason with a man down if they make it that far, that's going to be a tough thing to overcome because it's more taxing on your guys. You got to have guys throw more pitches and you don't have as many opportunities. Playoffs are a different animal. Like things just go a little differently in the playoffs in terms of staff rotation. Do you throw guys out of the bullpen or not? But you want to have as many options as you can. And with the way Kimbrel's pitching, and I said this before, and this is what we've been talking about. This is regular season. This is not even the playoffs. So the playoffs has been the bigger issue anyway. Like Kimbrel was at least good in the regular season last year for Philly for the most part. He was atrocious in the playoffs. He's been awful this year in the regular season, post All-Star break, and even a little bit before that. We acknowledge he was good in the beginning parts of the season. But like this, we're talking about this in August. What are we going to be talking about in October? Like that's the conversation.
Yeah. It's just at this point, I think this team is who they are. You know, they're inconsistent at every facet of the game. And you can't win ball games like that. And you can't string together wins like that, which is the most important thing. And so, yeah, if they don't get the consistency together, this team's not doing anything this year.
Yeah, it's tough, man. It is tough.
Yeah, but Kevin, I'm out of here. I'm on my way up to old Aberdeen to call the Ironbirds game. Hagen Smith, I think Joe said Hagen Smith.
Yeah, Joe's pumped, man.
I'm actually really excited to watch Hagen Smith in person. So
yeah,
I'm not rooting against the Ironbirds, but like I would really enjoy.
Better not be.
He's such a good strikeout pitcher. Like he was my favorite pitcher out of this draft. So like he's just gonna be so fun to watch.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, but
well, hopefully you have fun in the.
Hopefully it's better than this. Hopefully it's better than this.
In the Kevin. Wow, shows how much you like talking to me. No, I'm kidding. But what is it? Because I think I actually missed Mike's tweet. Someone pointed it out to me today.
That's called the Kevin Ostriker.
I know. I missed it. I didn't even see it.
I didn't either until earlier today. And I was like, "Wow, that's crazy."
I know. I'm literally commenting on it right now. Didn't see this until now.
Absolutely unreal, Mike.
This is what dreams are made of.
I hate it.
In the Kevin Ostriker gets in the booth leaderboard. So the leaderboard has been named after me. We're going for the field next. I will have some conversations. Maybe
I'll make sure to bring it up while I'm up there. I'll be like, "Yo, where is the whole
Ryan and I and the Ripken family and I will be sharing naming rights, obviously."
The Ripken Ostriker field.
Man, doesn't that have a good ring to it? Doesn't that have a good ring to it?
The tongue. It just rolls off the tongue.
It does, man.
But yeah, Kevin, I'm out here. You wrap things up and take on. This was a tough one, but
it was.
I'm not gonna say the O's are fine, but get them tomorrow. I'm out here, Kevin. Go have fun.
All right. Have fun in Aberdeen. Peace out. I'll go for a couple more minutes here as we kind of round out. There's not really a ton else. I do want to get the opinions though. If you're still in chat, let's do a couple of mini polls, and by that I mean putting numbers in the chat. Actually, let's do a yes no. Let's do a yes no, and we'll do a couple of yes nos. Do you think the Orioles win the AL East? Yes or no? We'll start there. So yes or no, you can put it in the chat. Do the Orioles win the AL East? Do you still have confidence in them to win the AL East? Yes or no? So you can put that. We'll talk about it. While responses are coming in, it's tough, man, because they're not playing consistently, but the Yankees just look awful. For as inconsistent as the Orioles have looked, the Yankees just look terrible. The Yankees, and this is where I am. I personally think yes. I'm still confident in them winning the East because the Yankees are just I have zero. Like the Orioles, my confidence level, it's dipping a little bit. Right? Season's not over, but it's with what we've seen, we can be realistic. But it is kind of like a by default type deal where it's not it's less so oh, I'm so confident the Orioles can just blow away with the AL East. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying the Yankees, I think, are just worse. The Yankees are just worse. They have Judge and Soto, who are two incredible players. Unbelievable. But they have no one else in their lineup. Their pitching staff is inconsistent. Luis Gil just went on the IL. Their bullpen has been inconsistent. Their 3 deadline acquisitions have been disasters. I mean, not Jazz was great for them on the field, obviously, right? But he's injured. Leiter has an 8 ERA or something since joining the Yankees, 5 to 8, whatever it is. And De Los Santos was DFA. So I think the Orioles still will win the AL East, but it's not going to necessarily be in convincing fashion, in my opinion. But here's the big one. Do you think the Orioles make it past the ALDS this year? Yes or no? Yes or no? Do the Orioles make it past the ALDS this year? Do they make it to the ALCS? So do they have progress? Is that the part? We're still early, right? A lot can change. Season's not over. We're at August 21st right now. Playoffs don't start till October. There are plenty of things that could go right, things that could go wrong. We still have a long way to go. If I had to choose right now, would the Orioles advance past the ALDS? The way they're playing right now, no. They have to find different ways to produce runs, to produce the bases loaded, because they can't. It's like this, where if their starting staff continues doing this, if we break it down, if we literally extract everything and break it down into particulars, No, they cannot advance with their defense. No, they can't. With the defense right now, they cannot. They have to be better than. Starting pitching-wise, I think they can, especially if guys get back. Because for the most part, the staff has been the most consistent part of the team this year. And if you're going to get Grayson back, if you're going to get Eflin back, that will help a ton. I think with the starting staff, you can. With the offense, I mean, the way they're playing right now, no, they're too inconsistent. And that's been, I see in the chat, they have to be more consistent on the offensive side of the ball. If the offense can get back and be better, then yes, I do think so. But I think this all kind of hinges on the offense and not to put the bullpen, because we know the bullpen is going to be an issue, right? We know it is. The offense can help that by blowing games open and not relying on the bullpen to go and do shutout innings every single game, right? If you allow the leeway on offense to have your bullpen give up a run or two, that makes it look a lot better. But if you're facing a team like the Astros in the wild card round, if they get the Yankees, I think they win the series, by the way. I do. But Zach and I were talking about it last night. If they get the Royals, how confident do you feel? If they get the Astros, how confident? If they get the Guardians, how confident, right? It's those types of teams. But the big part, and Adam says it right here, and I know other people have said it, this is just the one that popped up. Eflin, Rodriguez, Westberg, Mateo, Coulomb, all those guys. I think Mateo's done for the year. I think his injury, I mean, I don't know this, but I believe he's done for the season. But Eflin, Rodriguez, Westberg, and Coulomb, that's the best reinforcement package the league has, right? That is the biggest boost that the league has. So it all hinges to me. You know, I talked about how defense is the most important part here, and I agree. I still am saying that, but the X factor is the offense for multiple reasons. Obviously, you got to score runs to win games, but oh, true. Jacob Webb too. Well, I appreciate you pointing that out. I totally forgot. Jacob Webb too would be another big addition to the bullpen. Yep. But man, the offense is the key to this, because one, you got, again, score runs to win the game. But two, I mean, you're not relying on your bullpen. I mean, let's apply this to this game, right? Cole gives up 2 runs. The Orioles score 3 total. That means you're relying on your bullpen. Cole pitched 4 1/3 today. So you're relying on your bullpen to go 4 2/3 of no run ball to win the game, scoring 3 runs. Because obviously if they score 1 more, it's a tie game. Then you got to do the whole other situation. Craig gives up the homer, and then Sir Anthony gives up the homer. In a vacuum, right? In an absolute vacuum. Craig allowing a homer, like timing-wise, it was awful, right? And I'm not excusing him doing it. But it wasn't like he came in here 2/3 of an inning, 4 hits, 4 runs, 1 walk, like all that. But if the Orioles were able to capitalize on that bases loaded, and they scored, let's say, even 3 runs instead of 1. So that puts you at 5. Craig giving up that homer puts you at 5-3. And you're just not relying on your bullpen to go out there and be perfect or close to it every single time. Obviously, I'm not excusing the bullpen from their blame. Right? Obviously, it is. You're not just going to excuse them. But the offense is the key, because obviously you can score the runs that way, give your starters run support, but give your bullpen run support. Right? Give your bullpen run support. That, to me, I think is the most important part. So they have the talent to advance as far as they want to. This league is so open that they can advance as far as they want to. But they have to be consistent, and if they're not, they're probably not going to go very far. If they are, they can go far. So to me, the word, and put it on a shirt, consistency. Consistency. Kieran saying, Kevin, are you worried about Eloy at all? He's not hitting the ball well. He does nothing but hit ground balls to the infield, it seems. I mean, I expected him to fall off. Really relative to what he was doing, right? Like, it wasn't realistic he was going to continue doing what he's doing. Obviously, he's a guy that a lot of people, when he came in, the common misconception was he's only a power guy. He hits 220. You know, he never hits anything but homers. But the ground ball rate has been, I don't know the exact numbers on it. Zach would be better for that. But it's more of a tandem, and that's what I expected. It's a decently good tandem between Ryan O'Hearn and Eloy Jimenez. That's what it has to be. right? You're not relying on him to play every day. I think Eloy should probably be playing a little less than he has been, but I think maximizing your lineup, it's matchups, right? We talk about matchups all the time and how it is good to use and have that data, but just not use it and overuse it, right? Not overuse it. And I think you're not overusing it when playing certain levels of matchups when it's not hot hand situations. That to me, so Eloy is a guy that you play against lefties. And O'Hearn's a guy you play against righties. And I think that's the way you do it, unless one of them is on a tear. Like if Eloy's on the tear, you play Eloy till the wheels fall off. Now that the wheels are not turning as hard anymore, I think now you move back to more of a platoon type situation there. And Zach went over a couple minutes ago to Aberdeen. He's calling the Ironbirds game with Mark Antonini, which again, I am now the face of that, because when I went up there, it was the random date I chose. The Ironbirds had a no-hitter, combined no-hitter that game, but Zach is going back for a second time. So Bar is a good guess. Zach's been very vocal about how he's a bar goer, but he's heading up to Aberdeen right now. So yeah, I think that it's tough overall, where like Eloy is very low down on the list of like things you got to worry about right now. Like I'm not circling him as an issue. Like there's multiple tiers of things that are an issue where Eloy is very low down on the problem list. I wouldn't even really call him. And I see, look at this right in the chat as I'm talking about it. Yep. I think he's not a problem, but I think the expectation of him here's what happened. He started off scorching. And everybody's like, oh, this is awesome. This is great. But no one should have had an expectation that was what Eloy was going to do. And now that he is falling off, people are like, oh, he's such a pro, he's not doing well. He's not doing as well as he was at the beginning. Yes, because what he was doing at the beginning is not sustainable. It was awesome. It was fun. It was great, but it's not sustainable. And I see Matt's point here. Mountie is more of an issue. And that's why I said last night that it was good to see Mountie get 2 hits and get on base and have quality at bats, because Mountie and Adley are the 2 guys right now in that lineup where I'm just kind of like, man, like they need those guys and they're not producing. So those 2 have to get back on track. Those are the 2 guys. Gunnar, he's looked good. He's looked back, but the offense must be more consistent. But I think that's all I got for you here on Kevin and Zach React. If you want an Orioles post-game destination, we are that for you. We go live after every single Orioles game. We're going to do stuff with the Ravens as well. So Baltimore sports, we have you covered. We're part of the Ryan Rick Media Show empire. So be sure to hit that like button, subscribe button, both here on Kevin and Zach React and on the Ryan Ripken Show. And we'll be back here. The Orioles start a huge set with the Houston Astros. They're going to be a 4-game. It's going to be a tough one, but hopefully the Orioles can right the ship a little bit with that. We'll be back, of course, talking after the game. So be sure to stay tuned for everything that we have coming your way. And we'll see you right back here tomorrow on Kevin and Zach React. Chewies.